Hey guys, I'm Towery. I'm a high school Quizbowl player who specializes in literature, and I'm just going to make a quick guide on how I would recommend using Anki to both card and study for literature, right? With carding, it's for me, especially doing literature, it's very, very helpful in memorizing clues and also like learning about works very well. However, carding for one isn't a solution to everything, even in literature. And so, just to give an example of what my cards would look like, we're going to open up my British literature cards and go through a few of them. Set on the Nelly, which is anchored on the Thames River, right? Now, this is Heart of Darkness. And so, one thing about Anki is that it gives you different options for how easy or difficult that card was, right? Now, this card is very easy. I've studied Heart of Darkness for a while now, and it comes up a lot. I know this card pretty well, so I'm going to give this probably like a good, and I won't see this card for another 2.2 months, right? Far from the Madding Crowd. So I have it set up where it'll just go over. I have Anki set up where it'll show both clues and titles. And so since this is giving me the title for Far from the Madding Crowd, I'm gonna want to remember Far from the Madding Crowd is written by Thomas Hardy, right? This is another easy one. I'm gonna push it away for 2.7 months. Mary Garth refuses to change the will of Mr. Featherstone, who leaves his inheritance to Joshua Rigg. This is another clue card, and this, I believe, is Middlemarch. Yeah. And this one was a bit harder, so I'm going to give it a 5 month. But first, I want to show, like, that these cards, right, I made sure to write these where they come up in the question, right? So if we look up Mr. Featherstone here in a SeamsDB, which is pretty much, for those of you who aren't familiar, just a database of a ton of Quiz Bowl questions, right? I'm going to go over a Seams versus QuizDB in a bit, but yeah, look at this right here. For example, this right here. Yeah, Mr. Featherstone still in power, right? If you look here, Mr. Featherstone just at the power mark. So this comes up in toss-ups, right? And I card it for that reason, right? And so I'm going to go over how to set up these cards because if you just go and download Anki and then just open it up, you're not going to be able to have the cards like I do. You have to do a bit of work to set them up yourself, right? So you're going to start here with adding cards. Yours is going to be basic at first, right? Which is like this. You probably want to create decks for how you're going to do it. I would recommend creating decks for each like category geographically, since that's how most packets do it. I know some other packets will have it set up like long fiction, short fiction, drama. I think that could also be quite effective, but I've just done this already. I'm gonna stick with it. Once you have like one of the whatever like category of literature you're gonna set up, you go to you can go to the deck specifically and what card am I gonna do? I'm gonna show you guys how I would probably card. I don't know. We'll figure it out later. But you're gonna want to add here, and it'll bring up this. And so you'll notice it only has front and back. So you're gonna want to click up here with the card type, and you're gonna want to manage because you're gonna add a new card type. You're not gonna have these two down here, so you're just gonna add one, and it'll go off the basic note type is fine. And for our demonstration, it'll just be Quiz Bowl Guide. So that's our new card type. We can close this and Quiz Bowl Guide here. So we're going to choose this. And this is a new card type. So to make it how we want to revamp it to, you want to come over to Fields. And so we want to set up first right here. We're going to rename this first one to title. This will be the title of our work. The second one, we can rename it to writer, whoever wrote it. And then we're going to add, I have 9 fields. That's a pretty good number for me. Because like I don't think I'm going to card any more than 9 clues for specific work. By that point, I'll just read it if I really need to. So I'm going to add clue 1 here. To make this faster, I just copy this, and then you can just press enter. Clue 2, clue 3, clue 4, clue 5. And what's also good about these cards is that you don't need to have 9 clues for each card. If you leave some of the clues blank when you're making the card, it won't have blank cards showing up for review. It'll just automatically like not add those into any deck. So once we have all of these clues lined up here, we can save this. And so now the fields are all together, right? But to make the card work where it reads it to you the way you want to review, you're going to have to go up here and press the cards tab, right? And so right now, as you can see up at the card type, we only have one where it shows title to writer. So this card, the rest of this is completely useless until we add new card types. And so right now, it has the front, where's the title, the back is the writer, which is good. So we're going to leave that as it is. And we're going to go over here. We're going to add a card type. This is card 2. And we're going to have this one give us clue 1. And then our back template will be clue, or no, it'll be title instead, right? So now we have one card that shows us the title we have to give the writer, one card that shows us clue 1, and we have to give the title. So we're just going to do this 9 more times for every one of our clues. And once you can just do this repeatedly. So this is our third card, clue 3, 4. Oops. I think I might have messed up somewhere. Oh, I accidentally deleted it. Oops. Try not to do that. Wait, no. Yeah, this is card 6. Add 7, 8. And our last one, clue 9 to title, right? And so if we look through our card types, 1, 2, 3, 4, no 5. I'm going to have to add another. All right, now we have card 5. Mine's a bit out of order. That's okay, though. It'll still read it to us the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Title to writer, right? And so now we should have 9 cards, and we can fill it in. And just to make sure, I'm going to make a new deck real quick. So this will be our test deck. And just to make sure this will work, we're actually going to card. I'm gonna go over how I would card a piece of literature, right? And so what I do is, or how I started off was looking at packets, proto bowling, and frequency lists to pretty much figure out where I should start carding. If you're just starting with literature, before you even do any of this, I would recommend doing a lot of proto bowl so that you can get used to the high school canon and like read about what comes up a lot. It'll help you get more toss-ups as well as just familiarize yourself with the canon. It's proto bowl is actually really important when you first start, but once you have the canon once you kind of know what's in the canon, you should probably stop proto bowling as much, even though it is fun, right? And so I have these frequency counts here. I can share this with you guys in the description of the video where a bunch of the other links will be. And we can look at our world lit, see what comes up a lot. So with these, it's sorted on the right side. So there's 21 Pablo Neruda toss-ups in the 3, 4, 5, which is pretty much just the high school canon. And Cry the Beloved Country comes up a lot. I'm probably going to card something else. So let me see. Let's go back here. For example, our British literature. You're going to notice that not all of these are works, obviously, so like Vanity Fairs, but Thomas Hardy, you don't want to make a Thomas Hardy card. You want to go in to QuizDB and find out what Thomas Hardy has written a lot of, right? So if we look up Thomas Hardy in QuizDB, which linked again, this is another database. It's a bit easier to use than a SeamsDB, but it has a lot less packets and a lot less updated, right? So Thomas Hardy, just going through for 10 points, name this Victorian novelist who wrote Tess of D'Urbervilles, right? So Thomas Hardy's probably best well known for Tess of D'Urbervilles. Yep, Tess of D'Urbervilles again in this toss up. Then it also mentions the Mayors, Casterbridge, and Jude the Obscure. Here we have Far from the Madding Crown, Tess of D'Urbervilles. Far from the Madding Crown, Tess of D'Urbervilles. So Thomas Hardy is obviously well known for writing Tess of D'Urbervilles, Far from the Madding Crowd, Mayor of Casterbridge. Darkling Thrush comes up right here. Anything else? Yeah, it looks like the Woodlanders is high in power, but it looks like what we probably need to card the most, or probably need to work on first, is Tess of D'Urbervilles, Jude the Obscure, Far from the Madding Crowd, right? So if we want to make a Tess of D'Urbervilles card, first what I would recommend doing is going on SparkNotes and just reading the summary for Tess of D'Urbervilles. And this just gives you a really good idea on just like it just makes you familiar with the book. And not everything that's in the book you're going to be able to card. And so it'll help you contextualize the stuff and get familiar with the names, because one of the weaknesses of carding I've noticed is just missing out on like names a lot, to be honest. But or not, that's not even true for protagonists. Usually is what I mess up because I did it wrong for a bit. But yeah, so this will get you familiar with it, and then I would go over here into QuizDB and I would just look up Tess of D'Urbervilles. You can just look up D'Urbervilles because this is sorting by answer line only. So all of these are toss-ups on Tess of the D'Urbervilles. And so you can just get started on your card, right? We're studying Tess of the D'Urbervilles. This was written by Thomas Hardy. And you want to start from the bottom of the toss-up and then make clues. Like, you want to make clues from the bottom going up, because the clues at the bottom you're going to see more in bonuses especially, and also it's just like the easier stuff that is more common, right? So this novel's protagonist is assaulted by Alec, who impregnates her with the baby Sorrow, and she's later abandoned by Angel Claire. So I'd imagine Angel Claire, I'm just going to control F up here. Angel Claire comes up a lot. Yeah, 15 times out of 12 toss-ups and however many bonuses there are. Yeah, so he comes up a lot. So I just like to look through and see how I would card Angel Claire. So moves to Brazil. Let's see if Brazil comes up a lot. Brazil comes up 8 times. So I'm just going to make my first card. Angel Claire moves to Brazil to restart his life. That's easy. I see Alec. I've seen him multiple times. I'm going to look up Alec. Comes up 15 times also. So we see Angel Claire kills Alec and is subsequently hanged. Alec rapes Tess of D'Urbervilles. I believe earlier I saw a clue that says Alec impregnated her with the baby Sorrow, right? Let me see how up Sorrow comes up. Yeah. So raped by her supposed cousin and bears her child. Sorry. So I would make the card. Alec impregnates the protagonist with the baby Sorrow. I don't like to have periods in my cards. So that's another good one. Tabitha's Dairy. I think that does come up a pretty decent amount. Oh, also you want to be familiar with like packets that you'll see in QuizDB, right? So for example, your ACF Nationals toss-ups are going to be way harder than, for example, just like a normal high school packets. So like HSAPQ, this is a relatively, like, I think it's leaning novice. I think it's on the novice side of things. PACE is like nationals level high school. These are some of the harder high school questions you're going to see. So like don't be I wouldn't really like look at, nationals toss-ups. I would use pace since like they cover a lot of stuff and you're just going to get a lot of them. So this black flag, I'm pretty sure that does come up a lot. Not really, so I probably won't write a card on it. Liza Lu, I think, does come up a lot. I'm probably going to add her a card. To death. Liza Lu. Let's see. So she asks her true love to marry Liza Lu. So I'm going to put protagonist asks Angel Claire to marry her sister Liza Lu after she dies. I don't really care that I have Angel Claire twice in my cards because that just means I'll get Angel Claire better. I'll look up the dairy here. Taubathe. Yeah, so this comes up a lot. Befriends the milkmaids. Yeah. So I could say that I like this one because it comes up with more names, right? Yeah. So yeah, I'm probably just gonna take this card. Protagonist befriends. There. So yeah, I'd say these are very solid clues. I would probably clue a few other things, right? But this is just I'm just doing this for demonstrative purposes, and you can pretty much get the hang of what you would clue. Also, I would recommend looking through a lot of the toss-ups, looking through a lot of the bonuses. Yeah, so look at this. This is the name that Tess gives to her son, the child of her rape by Alec, right? This is in her card. Hopefully, you would remember that from carding it. I'm sorry, Tess. I don't know. Yeah, so this is from the Mayor of Casterbridge, so you don't really need to card this for Tess of D'Urberville's. And just like get an idea of what they also give bonuses on. That's pretty important. And so if we add this card, of course, as I said, I would recommend adding more. Tess of D'Urberville's comes up a lot. And we're going to close this and look at our Anki deck that we made, our test deck, and we can study it. So, Tess of the D'Urbervilles, written by Thomas Hardy, we know that. Angel Claire moves to Brazil to restart his life. It works. Tess of the D'Urbervilles, right? Tess of D'Urbervilles. Yeah, so you'll see it works. It's showing us all these clues. One thing, don't start your cards yet until you have a lot of them. So, like, even with my Amulet cards, I probably have a ton of them. Yeah, I have a ton of Amulet cards, but I still haven't started on it because I don't really have that many yet, I guess. And so carding only a few things isn't going to help when with my Britlet cards, which I have what, like 300 of at least. Yeah, I have 394 Britlet cards. I'm going to do those cards because there's a lot of them and I will be able to it's a better cycle, I guess you could say. But yeah, one thing to know is that uh, carding is not just an end all be all solution. If you just card, you're probably not going to get that crazy at literature. You'll probably spit on a lot of stock clues and power the hell out of them, but you want to also be reading short stories, reading summaries, and most of all, just playing a lot of tournaments. It'll get you a really good idea of like both frauding, toss ups, and also just getting familiar with what's in bonuses, what the canon is. It's yeah, just play a lot of Quizbowl. And once again, this works really well with literature. I doubt it works that great anywhere else, but literature is a pretty big category. If you want to specialize in literature, I'd say this is almost necessary. I would say, especially if you aren't like a big reader. I barely read anything before I just decided to specialize in literature. And using these frequency counts, they can be a bit misguiding sometimes, but overall, they're pretty good. So, like, Carding Vanity Fair is probably a good idea. And make sure that you want to card works, not authors. I would card multiple things from Thomas Hardy. Like I have cards on Gene the Obscure, I have cards on Far from the Madding Crowd, I have cards on the Darkling Thrush and Test of the D'Urbervilles, right? It's important to have cards on a lot of the things by an author so you can get toss-ups when that author is tossed up, right? Because even if you know literally every single thing about Test of the D'Urbervilles, they might toss up something about the Darkling Thrush that you didn't know about earlier on in the question. And really, just play a lot of Quizbowl. Like you'll see the benefits from this cards and also learn how to improve your cards by just playing a lot. I hope this video is helpful to any new or just literature players that want to learn how to study in different ways. Thank you guys. I'll remember to check the description for like links to everything that I used here. And yeah, keep playing Quizbowl. Quizbowl's fun. Yeah. See you guys.